Hello again, everybody. So today is another video, and this time it is the Elite 50S's turn. Some of the things that I want to do for the bike. I don't believe the petcock was working correctly. I was having a lot of problems getting it started, and I'm pretty sure that it's the problem. So I do have a brand new, unfortunately not Honda part. As I've said in all my videos, I usually buy Honda only parts, but for this particular problem, these are just so much more economical. I mean, it's only a $20, $15, actually this one was less than that, $12 part. So if it fails after a year or 2 years, I can put another one in, compared to the Honda parts like $55, $60. So I figured, because it's so easy to replace, why not try one of these instead? So that was one of the things I had to do. The other is the gauge for my fuel wasn't working. So I took the parts out of the AERO that I have. I have an AERO 50 that I'm going to part out and sell. And I took some parts out of that and hooked it up here, and then I'll use the float and everything from this bike, but just replace this part here. And I've already tried it and it works great. So the old one just was all corroded and didn't work. So I have that hanging. I'm ready to install again. The other thing that I'm planning on doing is the gas tank it's got quite a bit of rust in it. I mean, it's not super terrible, but since I have it off, I'm going to go ahead and clean the gas tank out. Acid in it, this muric acid, and after 10 minutes or so, just moving it from side to side, put enough in it just so it coats the bottom, and then that'll allow you to turn it and put it on its side with all of it staying in without coming out, and then do the same thing on the other side, and it cleans it good. About 10 minutes each. And then after that, you want to take some baking soda and water just to neutralize it on the inside. And after you mix it with some baking soda and water, get it all cleaned out, spray it again with water, and then dry it off. And then the last step I usually do is I'll just put a coat of WD-40 on the inside so you don't flash rust, which will happen if you don't treat it right away, and then fill it up with gas. So we'll go ahead and we'll run that, and again, here's the before, and you'll see a definite difference when I'm done. Be real careful with this stuff because it doesn't like paint, you know, and it doesn't like aluminum. If it gets on plastic, it's fine. Obviously, it's in a bottle, plastic bottle. So just be real careful you don't get it on your hands or anything like that. Unless you don't care about your fingers melting. So I'll go ahead and put it in and do some turning back and forth, and I'll be back. Okay, I just dumped some in there and just used a funnel. I'll let it sit in there a good 10 minutes or so, and then I'll turn it. Again, you don't have to put a ton of it in there. You just do it, you know, the way it is now, and then you turn it on its side, and then you turn it on its side again, and that'll get it pretty good on the inside. So again, just be real careful when using this. I got the garage door open. You want to make sure it's well ventilated. Okay, I'm still wiping it up, but take a look in there now, and that's what I'm talking about. Looks like brand new inside. So I still got a little bit around these edges. I mean, I don't really care about that as much. The whole rest of the tank, you can see down in there, looks like new. Make sure you give it a real good rinse, which I did. Some Arm & Hammer baking soda, some water. Let that get everywhere. Coat the whole thing just in case you got any anywhere. And when you're done, now it looks like that. So I'm going to go ahead next, and I'm going to take my heat gun, and I'm going to give it a good heating on the inside, make sure it's all dry. Okay, so I went ahead and Sprayed some WD-40 on the inside just to protect it, and it looks really good in there. Much nicer than what it did before. So here's the new petcock, and the way that installs is take this. Let's see, it's got that O-ring on there. Stick it like that. So now it gives a nice filter for your gas. You go ahead and you screw this on. You can see once you install the new petcock, you can see there's your new filter right there. You know, it was a bit dirty under here, so I figured what the heck, it hasn't been wiped in 35 years or whatever. So I went ahead and drained out the oil reservoir just because I have no idea how old the oil was in this thing. For all I know, it could have been sitting in there for 5 years. Alright, so I went ahead, put the gas tank back on. It's just the 4 bolts, one there, one over there, and 2 on the other side. And I took the panel off for the air filter. And this is the air filter. This thing is probably original with the bike. Very old. So I went ahead and I purchased, rather than buying another air filter, I bought this Uni filter material, and I should be able to make at least 2 of them out of it, and it's far better than what this is. Alright, so got the new filter there. Oiled it up. Looks like I got enough room to make another one or use it for one of my other bikes, but just traced off the old one. Now I got a nice Uni one, and went ahead and used some of their foam filter oil, which I've had this for quite some time. Okay, so I have the sending unit put back together. I got that to push on as hard as I could. I made it a little bit tighter because it failed the last time. So I'm going to go ahead and test it and see if it works now. And here you go, this is how it works. So it sits inside the tank like this. And right now it's showing a full tank. So if I let this go lower, as it goes lower, obviously the gas is what makes it float. And you can see how it goes all the way down to E when I let it go. So the sending unit is working like a champ. I'll pull it back up again like I'm filling up the tank. And there you go, it's working as it's supposed to. So I'll go ahead and put it back together again. So there's a little gasket right there, a little rubber gasket. And you can see the little arrow right there. I'll just make sure that's over the top of the arrow. And then we'll go ahead and we'll put this on. And then this also has an arrow on it, so as you slide it from here to there, the arrows will match up, and that'll tell you that it's on there and it's nice and tight. Alright, so once I put it on, you can see how I tapped it all the way in place using one of these little sides, and now the arrows match up, so now you know it's on there nice and tight. Otherwise, when you fill up the gas tank, because this is a little bit taller than this, if that seal isn't there good, you might have some gas come out of here. So then this just holds underneath here, and then you're good to go. So one of the other things that I wanted to show you that I figured I'd take care of is this gas cap. It's a Honda gas cap. It's the same cap that's on just about every scooter made in the 1980s, possibly even later than that. But you'd have to look up in your service manual to make sure it's the same as yours. And what a lot of people don't realize is as these bikes age, the actual pressure is lost in the tank due to that gasket right there. So the first thing a lot of people go and do is they'll throw this away. Well, this is going to be much better of a cap than the $7 or $8 one that you'll find on eBay being sold by people in Hong Kong and China. Trust me, because I bought one and it didn't hold good pressure, and it's just all around junk. So instead, what you really should do is keep your original cap and just buy another gasket. And once you install the new one, which the new one went on so easily because the plastic's real malleable. So I didn't have any problem. It actually took me longer to get the old one off just because, see, that's how you can see it's cracking everywhere there. So just wanted to share that with you. Now it's like putting a brand new gas cap on the scooter. Another part there that you see that's new is the carburetor. It's not a Honda carb. I'm not proud of using these off-brand carbs, but or parts in general. But it was only $25, and it was the only one I could find. So the carb that was in it was, you can see right here, that it was a Honda carb. And this came out of an 86 AERO that had about 9,000 miles or so on it. So it ran okay. It was hard to keep it idling. The float bowl was, the float and everything on it was just old. It wasn't, just wasn't working good in general. So I decided to get rid of it, and I put that new carb in, and the carb actually works fine. The bike starts right up. I got it to idle at the 1800 RPMs that it's supposed to be at. The only adjusting was, the little bit adjusting that you do in the beginning in order to get it to idle. Other than that, it's running great. I was actually surprised at how well the bike ran with a $25 garbage carb in it. So real easy to replace. Besides taking the air cleaner off, you can see here you got to take the throttle off. And then you have back here, there's a couple of bolts you have to remove. And then you have to replace and put this middle gasket back in. It's got a couple of O-rings in it. And after that, it's like in this flim. Easy to work, easy to adjust. As long as you adjust this the way that it states in the book. And it starts right up. So that's now the second part I put on this bike. That isn't Honda, but if this part decides to die, at least I know I can buy another one to put in it. It's not that big of a deal to me as long as the bike runs well. So before I put it all back together again, the things that I ended up replacing: replaced the carb, replaced the element with a brand new Uni element that's on the inside there now. Took care of the petcock along with the filter that's inside of the gas tank. I cleaned out the oil and put some new oil in. I took care of the sending unit, used parts out of my AERO 50, and now the sending unit works great. Took care of the gas cap, put a brand new seal on the inside of there for the gas cap. Now that works good. Cleaned out the gas tank, looks like brand new inside now. And after all that stuff is said and done, all right, got the panels all back on. Actually had a few different screws and bolts and stuff that I was missing, so I ordered some of those to replace them. And the bike is ready to go. So just again to show you. Sounds good. And that's it for this video. And I'll see you next time.